Hello, in this video I'm going to show you how to make a table to arrange the content on your page. So you'll see right now that I have my image there and I have the text, which is in the HTML right next to it, hard up against that. But what I'd actually like is I'd like the image on one side of my page and the table on the other side of my page. So let's have a look at my HTML. There's the dog and straight afterwards there's the text, which is why it's next to it. So here's how I build a table. Obviously, table. I open and close the table to make the actual table. And while I'm building it, I'm going to put in this property that I'm going to say border equals 1. That's just so that I can see the table. Then I'm going to create the table row. And that's like it's a row. It's not like anything. It's like a row in Excel. So I'm opening and closing my table row. TD stands for a cell or table data. So that's my TD, and I'm actually going to have two of those. So I'm going to copy and paste that. In the first one, I'm going to put my dog picture. So I just grab the code for that, and that goes between the TD tags. And then I'm going to have the text, which is going to go in the other TD tags. So what I've got is one row, which is from there to there, and I've got two cells or table data within there. So let's save it. Let's let FileZilla do its thing, and then let's go back and have a look. Just wait until it's done its thing. Yep, that looks pretty good to me. And now when I refresh it, you'll see that I have that table. Now the table is pretty small at this point. And I have my dog in there. Now my dog is only 20% of the size of that. I said earlier how it was the size of what it's in. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to make that bigger. So here goes. That's not what we're looking for. There we go. And going back into FileZilla, I want to have a look at the CSS. So edit my CSS. There we go. And I'm just going to zoom in on that a bit so that I can see it. There we go. So I'm going to create something for my table, and I'm going to say that my table is going to have a width of, let's say, 80%. So it's going to take up most of the screen, 80%. And you'll notice I put the semicolon on the end. And what I'm actually going to do is put a margin on the left of 10%. That leaves 10% left over, and that 10% will be the margin on the right. So let's save that. So let FileZilla do its thing. And then let's go back to my page and refresh it. Where do we refresh here? There it is. And you'll see that there we go. The table now takes 80% of the page. But you'll notice that one cell is still very much bigger than the other. Well, what I'm going to do is go back here to my CSS again. Oh, I didn't close that properly. Lucky it still worked. And I'm going to say the TDs are going to have 50% of the width. So width is 50%, so that they will take up 50% of the available space each. Again, I let it do its thing. I go back here and refresh. Hopefully it's updated the CSS, and there you see that I in fact have a nice thing for my picture and a nice thing for my text, and if I make my screen smaller, then they will maintain those spaces. Now one thing I am going to do before I go is you'll notice that my dog is now quite small. So I'm going to say rather than my dog being 20%, I'm now going to make it 50%. So that it takes up a good amount of that. There we go. I still don't actually think that's working. I might need to have a look at my CSS. Let's just have a quick look. There's my CSS. Image is still at 20%, so I refresh it. It's because I didn't confirm with FileZilla. Okay, so refresh. There's my 50%. Refresh my page, and there's my dog. Come on, dog. You should be bigger than that. That's better. Now, you'll notice I've still got this border around the edge. So the very last thing that I'm going to do is go to my HTML, which is back here somewhere. There it is. and I'm going to take out that border one. I was just putting that in there while I was working. And so now, again, I refresh, and that table will now be invisible, or should I say that table should have been invisible, except that I didn't let FileZilla do its job. And now I'll refresh that, and having let FileZilla do its job, content here, content there in a table.